We're back on the record at 11:28 a.m. Please continue.
I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about the LuLaRoe sales structure.
Okay.
When you first started working with LuLaRoe through Service Quest, what was its sales structure at the time?
Objection form.
Can you define sales structure and how you're asking?
So at the time, were there retailers selling LuLaRoe clothing?
Yes.
Okay. Were those retailers divided into territories?
I don't believe that they were divided into territories. Yeah, to my knowledge, I don't believe so.
Was there a compensation plan, or what was your understanding of the compensation plan when you first started working with LuLaRoe?
I don't remember what the compensation plan was when we started.
Do you recall whether Service Quest was ever asked to provide advice regarding the compensation plan?
Objection form.
I don't recall specific questions around an existing plan.
I'm going to hand you what's been marked previously as Exhibit 165. For the record, is base numbered LLR-WA 000-23206. I'll give you a moment to take a look.
Okay.
Do you recognize this document?
I don't recognize this document.
It appears to be an email sent from you to jeffstutz41@gmail.com on February 25th, 2014 with an attachment. Is that accurate?
That's what it appears, yes.
Okay. Do you know who Jeff Stutz is?
Yes.
Who is Jeff Stutz?
I believe he was a former colleague of Mr. Transtrom's. He's an independent consultant and distributor for another company.
He's an independent consultant for a different company?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know why you were sending it to Mr. Stutz?
I don't.
Okay, you can put that one aside. And hand in what's been marked as Exhibit 266, which is labeled Bates number 003905. I'll give you a moment to take a look.
Thank you.
So for the record, this document has a heading, Leadership Bonus Plan, and then on the first page, and then on the second page and every page thereafter, the bottom right-hand corner reads 2016 LuLaRoe Leadership Bonus Plan. Is this a document you're familiar with?
I'm familiar with the form.
You're familiar with the form. Does this look to be to you to be the structure of the LuLaRoe Leadership Bonus Plan in 2016?
Ejection form, foundation.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if this is draft. I don't know if this is final. I don't have any other context on this.
Do you have any understanding, independent of this document, of what the structure of Leadership Bonus Plan was in 2016?
I don't recall any specifics.
Just going to ask you a couple of questions
Sure.
on this. If you look to page 5 of the document,
Okay.
case number 3909, the title is Fashion Consultant Sponsor. And under the heading Results, the second paragraph says, Sponsor, you will be eligible to earn a 5% override bonus on the dollar amount of the orders of your new personally sponsored fashion consultant. Do you know what the term override bonus means?
Ejection foundation.
Again, I don't know the full context around this presented plan here.
Have you heard the term override bonus while working with LuLaRoe?
I've heard the term override, but I've not heard override bonus.
What's your understanding of what the term override means?
My understanding is that it represents a percentage of an individual's sales.
Does it represent the percentage of a retailer's sales that that retailer's sponsor will receive?
It could. I don't know the details. I've just heard the term before.
Okay. If you turn to page 7, which is headed Trainer.
Okay.
Excuse me 1 second. Mine's stuck together. Got it.
In the middle, there's a section of the document labeled Results. And a little bit towards the end, it mentions a leadership pool. Do you have any understanding of what that term means?
Ejection foundation.
I've heard the term. I don't know in this context.
Outside of the context of the document, what is your understanding of the term leadership pool?
I don't have a lot of understanding of it other than I understand that it's part of the compensation plan.
Do you know how the leadership pool is determined?
I don't.
Do you know how it's calculated?
You have to answer audibly.
No.
Have you heard discussions at LuLaRoe about leadership points?
I'm familiar with the term.
And what are leadership points?
It's similar to how I answered the other one. I understand it's part of the compensation plan, but I don't know the details.
Okay, you can put this one aside. Do you recall there being a change in mid-2017 to LuLaRoe's leadership bonus plan?
Change in what context?
Do you recall there being a change from how that leadership bonus plan was calculated?
I recall a change in format. I just remember that there was a change, but I don't know the details.
What was your understanding of the change?
I believe that it was the primary objective was to focus on heavy focus on sales to the consumer.
Was it your understanding that prior to that change, the LuLaRoe bonuses were calculated based on wholesale orders rather than sales?
I don't know how they were calculated. It's to my understanding that there's always been a focus on sales, but there was some technology constraints, and they were able to more clearly identify that in their change.
Handed what's been marked as Exhibit 267, which is base numbered LLR-WA 000-43172. I'll give you a moment to take a look.
Okay.
So do you recognize this document?
I recognize the form.
Okay, so it looks like it is an email about the mid first page. There's an email from you to Mark Stidham, Austin Stidham, Deanne Stidham, and Kenny Brady, dated April 5th, 2017. Is that right?
It appears that way.
And then that's later forwarded to Justin Lyon. Looking at the email, the email from you, you say, please review the notes and add to the information if there's anything I am missing. And it includes various topics labeled compensation plan redesign notes. Were you involved in a meeting in April of 2017 regarding the compensation plan redesign?
It appears from this email that I would have given a summary and notes from, I'm assuming, a meeting, but again, I don't know the specific detail.
Does it appear from the email that you were present at the meeting?
Not necessarily.
How would you have prepared a summary of the meeting if you weren't present there?
Objection form.
It could have come from notes from a meeting. Could have been communicated by other documentation.
can put that one aside. Open handout has been marked as Exhibit 268, which is base numbered LLR-WA000400055. I'll give you a moment to take a look.
Okay.
Okay. Do you recognize this document?
I recognize the format.
Okay. So it looks to be an email. The top email is from you to Austin Stidham on May 3rd, 2017. Is that correct?
It appears so.
Okay. Practice of LuLaRoe to sometimes communicate through the comments feature on a Google document when working on a document.
Objection form.
I wouldn't say that that's a regular practice, no.
Does it sometimes happen?
Yes.
Okay. So he is requesting comments from some group of people.
Mm-hmm.
Did that include you?
Yes, I would assume so.
Okay. And the point of sale product that you're referring to, what was that called at the time?
I don't recall what our point of sale system was at that time.
Was it Audrey or Bless?
I don't recall.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know the
Okay.
dates on those.
You can put that one aside. Once the new plan, do you recall that the new plan was implemented in July of 2017?
I don't know the date. I know that a new plan was implemented.
Sometime in mid 2017?
Yeah, I don't recall.
Okay. What's your understanding of the structure of that new plan?
I don't know the details of that plan.
Do you have an understanding of the big picture structure?
Sales-based compensation is the only big picture that I would understand about it.
Your understanding that under the new plan, IFRs would receive a portion of the wholesale value of reported retail sales from their downline?
I don't know the
Objection,
detail.
foundation.
In mid 2015, strike that, in mid 2017, how were retail sales reported to the company?
Objection, foundation.
I don't know at that time.
Do you have any understanding of how bonuses were calculated under the new plan?
Objection, asked and answered, foundation.
No.
Do you recall ever hearing whether any retailers, once the new plan was implemented, didn't qualify for their previous rank under the new plan.
Could you restate the question?
Do you recall ever hearing whether any retailers didn't qualify for their previous rank under the new plan once it was implemented?
I've heard of retailers that might represent that, yes.
Okay. What happened with those retailers? Do you know whether they were sort of demoted down to a lower rank or whether they got to keep their same rank?
Objection form.
I believe that ranks in the plan would be subject to sales performance. So if a certain level of sales performance wasn't met, I would suppose that it would impact their rank or payout.
Do you know what criteria an IFR needs to meet under that new plan to stay active?
I don't.
In handouts, what's been marked as Exhibit 267?
I think you're at 260.
269?
Oh, 269, sorry.
It's okay.
Strike that. So you've been handed some marked as Exhibit 269, which has two different base labels on it. We're going to go with LLR-WA 00004334. I'll give you a moment to take a look at it. So this document has a heading at the top labeled Home Office Notes 5.30, and then the date a little bit below that, Tuesday, May 30th, 2017. Do you recognize the Home Office Notes format?
I do not.
Okay. Do you recognize this document in particular?
I do not.
Okay. At the bottom, there's a URL, https build.mylularoe.com news. Do you recognize that?
I don't.
Okay. The first portion of the Home Office Notes document has a heading, Kenny Brady, VP of Sales, and under that it says welcome, and then it says good morning. Welcome to the Tuesday Home Office webinar. Do you know what a Home Office webinar would refer to?
Yes.
What does that refer to?
That would be the weekly outward or field-facing communication from the corporate team to the retailer.
Were you involved in planning for those webinars ever?
Objection form.
I've participated on some, may have been consulted on content at times, but not my primary function.
Were there ever notes documents that would help the participants in the home office webinar walk through what the items to be covered on that week's webinar?
Are you talking about preparatory to the call?
Yes.
Not to my recollection.
Is that something that you recall ever presenting on a home office webinar?
I don't. As I read through these bullet points, I don't recall context or even what that presentation might have been.
You can put that aside.
Did you have a time to stop for lunch?
I'll probably be done with this line of questioning pretty quick, and then we can stop. And handed what's marked as Exhibit 270, which is Bates numbered LLR-WA 000069187. I'll give you a moment to take a look.
Okay.
So this document is an email from Mika Lung to you and Tanya Lamas, dated February 12th, 2018. Do you recognize the document that is attached?
Recognize the format.
The format, okay. And in the email, the cover email, Nicholas says, here are the assets for the leadership bonus plan update. Do you recall what was being updated at the time?
I don't know the particulars of the update. Under this capacity, I would have been on copy on this for distribution and communications.
Do you remember anything about the update?
I don't.
Okay. So you said you would have been copied for distribution and communications with IFRs?
Correct.
Okay. How was this graphic distributed?
Objection Foundation.
I don't recall.
Was the graphic intended for retailers?
Objection form.
I don't know if the, again, if this is final form or what. It appears from Mickola's request that this is an asset being provided for the purpose of distribution.
Distribution to retailers?
Yes.
Do you recall documents in this format, the leadership bonus plan, and describing the bonus plan in this format being distributed to retailers?
Yeah, visually format and form looks familiar.
Sure. So maybe not the details, but you remember documents of this format being distributed to retailers?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. How was the document that you recall, maybe not the specific one, but of this format distributed to retailers?
I would assume similar to many different communications, possibly email, possibly stage presentation, possibly the repository for assets. It could have been in a number of places.
The repository for assets was the repository you mentioned earlier of training materials.
Yeah, training materials, marketing assets, any important documentation from the company that would be available for the independent retailer to reference.
Okay. That. I think that we can take a break.
Other good news.
Going on the record at 12:14 p.m.